We're talking Riverdale. This is a review for Riverdale, Chapter 17, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Okay, so tonight's episode, how to describe it? It was okay. Only okay. You know, it wasn't a great episode. It wasn't a terrible episode. It's just an okay episode. It was a very simple episode. I think I've discussed this before with some of my other videos where I review shows, where you'll have what's known as a season-wide arc, and one episode kind of continues into the next episode. You'll find that there are episodes that are there just to be there. You know, that they're nothing special. They just kind of move the plot along. Well, that's kind of what tonight's episode was. It moved the plot a little bit, just at a meandering, at a snail's pace. That's what tonight's episode kind of felt like. I didn't hate it too much. I hated it that it was an episode that's just there to be there, just kind of a functionary. But the episode itself was okay. Basically, there were only two storylines that mattered tonight. What was going on with Archie, what was going on with Betty. We'll start with Archie. So Archie, of course, is keeping up his Red Circle Vigilante Club. And not a lot of fans of the his little vigilante group, including the principal. The principal pulls him into the office, chews his ass out. He says, "What the hell is the meaning of this video? You cannot put this out. You gotta take it down. You're off the football team." Actually, he just straight up said, "You're off the football team." Also, you know what? There's no football team until you apologize. There's not gonna be a football team, which kind of had me wondering, why is there still a football team? I mean, I understand that there's always going to be a football team, but are they still playing football? Isn't it supposed to be winter time? You know, in the season finale, when, Fred got shot, that episode had Archie punching through the ice to get Cheryl out when she was trying to commit suicide. The next episode, they go into it, Archie dragging Fred through the snow. There's blood everywhere. At some point, the snow melted. I was thinking there was some kind of time jump between when Fred ended up in the hospital and when he got out. Maybe a couple months down the line. But still, that we put it in spring, and it looks like it's spring because you see the outside shots. Everything is green. So wouldn't that mean football would be over with, done and over with? They should be considered about basketball or something. Or it was that time jump all just months on end. And now they've started their sophomore or junior year at Riverdale High, so football's back on again. To me, it just made no sense. And of course, this causes a rift between Archie and Reggie. Reggie's like, "Hey, you got to do this, or the rest of us can't play football," which made my eyes roll because it's like, oh no, Reggie and his buddies quit the vigilante group, leaving, Archie and maybe Dilton. And I'm like, no, Reggie, don't kick yourself out of the storyline. They finally put you in the storyline. That's what I've been saying all last year, a little bit this year, and now you're out of the storyline. Reggie. But later you find out that didn't fucking matter one bit. Anyway, like I said, no one's a fan of, Archie and his little vigilante group. Veronica gets on him, and then she finds out that her father was involved, so she kind of switches around where she's supporting him with a red circle shirt, and she gets everyone to wear them. Fred, Archie's father, is really pissed at him, as usual. But, Archie's staying with it, and he decides he's going to hit the south side, because everyone thinks that the Black Hood killer is from the south side. Because whenever something goes on wrong in Riverdale, it's always the South Side's fault, apparently. So he goes to the South Side of Riverdale, because Riverdale is that big that you have this whole other section of town. Anyway, he goes to the poor side, starts marking up the place with red circles, runs into Sweet Pea, the serpent. Sweet Pea is the one serpent that we met last week, who was like, "Hey, Jughead, want to go hang out with us?" "No, hey, are you a serpent or not?" That guy. And he starts asking Archie, "What the fuck you think you're doing? This is Southside territory." Archie's like, "I'm going to do what I want." So, Sweet Pea pulls a knife on him. Archie pulls a gun. And then, Sweet Pea runs away. But a little later, Sweet Pea and his cronies head over to Archie's house to confront him. By this time, Reggie has rejoined the Red Circle, and he brought all his buddies with him. Guess the reason for that was that they found Reggie's black hood in Archie's locker, which I thought was stupid too, because it's like, Archie, they're asking him about the gun. They start, going through his locker. This is the sheriff and the principal. And I'm like, well, he didn't have the gun in there, does he? But I thought they were going to find something. They find the black hood. And I'm like, rolling the eyes again, because it's like, who are you trying to fool with this shit? Not only do we know that Archie's not the black hood, but the sheriff and the principal should know that Archie isn't the black hood, because he was there when the black hood shot his father. What are you going for here? Anyway, like I said, because he didn't rat out Reggie to the sheriff, he came out with some story, because he told his father it was Reggie's hood. I don't know what he told the principal and the sheriff. Reggie's like, hey, let's get the red circle back together again. And just in time to fight the serpents as they come over to Archie's house. They get into a big brawl. That was and the serpents kicked the red circle's ass. At first it looks like the red circle could put up a fight, because Archie just slugged Sweet Pea in the face. But then they started getting their asses handed to them, and someone pulls a knife and puts it in Dilton Doiley's leg. And then the fight is broken up when Veronica fires Archie's gun in the air. Everyone takes off. They come up with the story. It said the Southside Serpents jumped us. And then, Veronica and Archie go back to his house. They start talking about Fred over here, or somebody realizes maybe Veronica can steer this kid straight. And she does, because they throw the gun off the bridge and into the river. And that's where that story went. So it kind of looks like that's the end of the red circle. As soon as it begins, it's ended. Or at the very least, it's where Archie ends with the red circle. Maybe Reggie keeps it up. That could be his story. So I don't think they're done with this sort of pissing contest between the north side and the south side serpents. Reggie and his gang, Sweet Pea and his. Although I'm wondering what Sweet Pea's chances are. In my predictions video, I predicted that one of the south side serpents is going to be a victim of the Black Hood. The one I went with is called Fang. He was in tonight's episode. I don't think he had any lines. He was in the last episode, didn't have any lines. But maybe it's going to be Sweet Pea, because they've established that him and Archie have problems. So maybe Sweet Pea's going to get it, and then everyone's going to think Archie did the killing. But I definitely going to predict that one of the Southside Serpents by the end of the season is going to be dead by the hands of the Black Hood. All right, so like I said, that's it with Archie. Let's move on to Betty. I predicted in my prediction video that this whole idea that this Black Hood was sending her a letter would be fake. That does not appear to be the case. It appears to be the actual work of the actual Black Hood killer. In the preview they show the one guy dressed up as the Zodiac Killer, and that was just something that Jughead was, thinking about, because he's researching, serial killers. And Betty's kind of doing the same. She gets a letter from the Black Hood saying that he inspired her. He saw her speech last season at the town jubilee, where she said Riverdale's full of shit, and decided, you know what? I'm going to be a Black Hood killer. So he sent her a little cryptogram so they could find out where the next attack's going to be. Betty decides she's going to share the crypto code with the sheriff, but not the letter saying, hey, you inspired me to go around killing people, which makes sense. I mean, everyone's going to be on her ass if if they read that letter. Anyway, this kind of goes with throughout the episode. She's trying to break this code, and she kind of thinks she can get it. Meanwhile, Jughead's getting closer to the Tony Topaz. Rolling my eye, because like I said, I'm just not interested in that sort of triangle. Although I got to put out. So anyway, Betty thinks that Jughead's going to start falling in love with this Tony Topaz. From what I understand, Tony Topaz, this serpent chick, she's supposed to be a bisexual character. So, obvious solution, threesome. I said it last year when I was talking about Archie, Veronica, and Betty. That was a simple solution. This one would make even more sense, a threesome. You know, Tony DeBage, she's a bisexual. She goes both ways. Who says she can't, do two at the same time? And Betty, well, she's got some kinkiness to her too, with dominatrix and bondage. So, and I'm sure Jughead would be in favor of all this. So just have a threesome and that sort of drama. Like I said, the Black Hood's trying to contact Betty. They break the code because Betty realizes that it's from this Nancy Drew book she always liked to read, which gives you more of a clue who the Black Hood killer is. He must know Betty if he knew that she liked this book. Maybe he's connected to the library. Maybe he's connected to her, early life. He's a friend of the family because he does seem a lot like Alice. And, of course, Betty rushes to Town Hall because they break the code. They realize he said the next attack is going to happen where it all started, which sounds like Town Hall because that's where they had the Jubilee. Betty gave that speech. So she goes and breaks the Town Hall meeting, and then ends up letting people know that she got a letter that said, hey, you're my inspiration. And that's kind of where it ended, except it ended on Betty getting a phone call from the Black Hood killer. Like I said, tonight's episode just kind of felt like it was there to be there. I just described the whole episode and it still feels like nothing happened. Like I said, I didn't mind that, It's just, I would have wanted a better episode. But let's just see how it plays into the next episodes. I think, it sets up the idea that this Black Hood guy is obsessed with Betty. Although, I think that my prediction that he's a fake Black Hood might still happen. This is some copycat who wants to pretend that he's a Black Hood killer so he can get with Betty, and then he'll end up being killed by the actual Black Hood. Everyone will assume the Black Hood is dead. That guy, who's the ex-cop, whose son died from the maple syrup poisoning because it had the blossom poison in it, is going to be the guy who runs for sheriff, who Archie recognizes, but no one gives a shit what Archie has to say anymore because he's been discredited. And then Sweet Pea gets killed, and you have the season. that's where I think it's going. There is another dynamic that they're introducing where everyone hates the South Side because they think that this guy who's attacking everyone on the North must come from the South Side. And because they're all into drugs, which, just really goes to show what a bitch Alice is because she's the one lenient. She's like, you should close down that high school, use the money to save our kids. And they're just a bunch of druggies. It's like, did everyone forget about Chester Blossom? What side of Riverdale did that guy come from? The drug kingpin who killed his son. He came from the North, people. That's all I'm going to say. And as far as, him attack the Black Hood only killing people from the North Side, he killed Grundy in Greendale, a whole other town. So his territory is a lot bigger than that. And like I said, someone from the South Side is going to get it next. I'm thinking Fang Forty, it might be Sweet Pea, but definitely someone from the South Side, probably one of the Serpents, is going to die next. And that's all I got for this episode.